You might remember her as Haruka Matsuki from Ultraman Leo, or Katsura Mafune from my favorite Godzilla movie, Terror of Mechagodzilla. This is our translator, Amanda Derendorf. So, let's just get right into the questions. So, Ms. Ai, you were a model prior to getting into acting. What was that transition like for you?
とても若くて何も分かってなくて当時のオフィスのオーナーに女優役者をやった方がいいんじゃないかって言われて分からないはい分かりました変更しました
So she says she was very young at the time. She feels like she didn't really know anything at all. So when the owner of the office was like, would you like to be an actress? Do you want to try that? She's like, sure, all right.
背も身長も低かったのでモデルのお仕事も一人単品でしか来ないんです。他の人と比べると小さいから単品の仕事が多かったのでそう確かにそうだな背もないし、言われる通り女優さんになれればその方がいいのかなって思いました。
And she's a bit on the short side, and I guess models tend to be a little bit taller. She's the perfect size. So she wasn't getting that many modeling gigs. It was just a few here and there. So that was another reason why she thought it might be good to try being an actress where height was not as important.
Cool. So you got started with a small, uncredited role, episode 17 of Ultraman Leo, but then you became a regular later on. Did the casting people remember you from the first time, the later one?
女優として最初の役はウルトラマンレオのエピソード17でしたね。でもその後はエピソード24番のレギュラーの役になりました。2回目はそれはスタッフとかは愛さんは最初の時から覚えていたと思いますか？その17番のエピソードに出て2回目のエピソード26番でどうしてその2回見ましたか？スタッフの愛さんは覚えて愛さんのシーン。
1回目のあれをカメラテストです。今でいうカメラテストみたいな感じで最初ゲストみたいなちょっと本当にちょっと少しの役でエキストラみたいな感じの役で出させていただいてあれが今思えばカメラテストでこの子で行きましょうって言って、いわゆるオーディションはなかったんですけどカメラテストをパスしてレギュラーに入れました。
So the first episode she was in, episode 17, it was a very small role as an extra, and that was seen as sort of a camera test to see how she played on the show, and that was kind of in lieu of an audition. So she didn't actually audition, but they liked her camera test in episode 17, so that's why they decided to put her on as a regular starting in episode 26.
So when you were cast as a regular, did you have a contract for a certain number of episodes, or was it kind of case by case, one at a time?
契約はエピソードずつでしたか？または一定のエピソードの数がもう決まれたんですか？
その辺もちょっとアイドルのその辺全然 然わからないです。はい。ただもう本当に素人だったので、もう行きなさいっていうところに行って、わけわからなく朝何時にそこへ行きなさいみたいなでただやってたっていう感じで、もちろんお芝居も何もできなかったですし、まあ昔だったんでそういういい時代だったんでしょうね。今じゃそんなこととんでもないですけどね。
So she really doesn't know any of the details about the contract. She really just went wherever they told her to go. They're like, all right, get up at this time, be at this place. She's like, all right, do that. And she did. But she's not sure if she was contracted for like a certain number or if it was like a one at a time kind of thing.
That works. So, what was the schedule like filming an episode of Ultraman?
Schedule? やっぱりレギュラーで隊員だったので、毎日ほとんど毎日行ってましたね。ロケが多かったんです、私は。だから一日本当にちょっとのシーンで毎日どっかしらロケに出てましたね。
So she was really shooting like every day, pretty hectically, going to different locations and doing small little scenes in different places. So it was pretty busy.
下手したら本当1週間から10日ぐらいで1本撮るっていう感じ。あとまとめて撮っちゃうので、でもなんか何を撮ってるのか分かんないような、そこ走りなさいとか、なんかそういう感じでやってましたね。
So they would film an episode in like a week to about 10 days or so, and they would all be kind of smushed together. So she wasn't really sure, what the plot was necessarily, what order things were happening in. They're just like run screaming here or do this here.
でまだ当時は同時録音じゃなくてアフレコ後から声を入れる。フィルムを見ながら後から声を入れるというシステムだった。だからそれを見て、こういうふうになってるんだっていうのが分かりました。
So they put the voice in afterwards?
Yeah.
So after the voice is in, you maybe have a better idea of what's happening.
So I guess the special effects were kept separate from the drama actors. Is that right?
Yes. 私は全然見てないですね。だから余計ストーリーわからないですね。特撮わからない。で、なんかそこに怪獣がいるからそういう芝居をしてくださいみたいなしろみたいな感じだったんで、はい、全然と思いながらやってました。
Right, so the special effects were all done in a separate location, so she didn't really get to see any of that at all. I was more just like, giving her directions, like, monsters over there, so, I'm scared of that.
So when I look at the Mac uniforms, they look very uncomfortable. Did they get warm or stuffy?
あれは、夏めっちゃ暑かったです。はい。でやっぱりちょっと足も太めだったので恥ずかしかったです。
So it was very warm. They filmed during summer, and it was very uncomfortable, and her feet were uncomfortable as well. So it was kind of embarrassing.
So episode 40 of Ultraman Leo is infamous. The whole cast gets killed off, and it's on your character's birthday. How did the cast react to the news that everybody was getting annihilated?
Wow. Rip.
誕生日でしたよね。スタッフはキャストはどんな反応がありましたか、そのニュース
マックの隊員が殺される、あそこで亡くなっちゃうっていうのが急に台本を見て分かってでじゃあもうこれ私たちこれで終わりなんだねみたいな感じなんですよ。で私は本当に何話しか出てないんですけど、最後に私のバースデーで乾杯って言ってドーンってバーンだから割とのおかげさまで印象に残ってるっていうか、まああれはラッキーだったなって思います。
So when the cast saw in the script that they were all going to be suddenly killed off dramatically, they were pretty shocked. They're like, "Wow, I guess we're out of work, huh?" But yeah, for anyone who's seen the scene, like it's her character's birthday, and they're like doing cheers or whatever, and they all get blown up. So in one sense, it's great for her because it's so memorable, like her as a character and an actress. But yeah, it's very shocking.
Do you have any memories of your castmates like Ryu Manatsu or Koshi Maritsugu?
そうですね、私は当時18歳からモデルの仕事を始めて大学へ行かなかったのであれが何人かの隊員の皆さんとすごく仲良くしていただいて、あれがなんかこう学生時代の思い出というか、なんかこう本当に私の青春時代ってあれなんだなって思います。
So she was 18 when she started as an actress, essentially, and she didn't go to college. So she sees this as kind of like her idyllic school days, sort of, like in replacement for that, because she got along very well with her castmates and became very close. So she sees it as kind of like the springtime of her life, I guess you would say.
誰っていうのではなくて、みんな撮影が終わるの、みんなが撮影終わるのはメンバーが待ってるんですよ。で待ってて終わってみんなで食事に行ったりとか、はい、してました。
So when someone was filming, like the other cast members would wait for them to be done, and then they would all go out for dinner together and that kind of thing. So they're very close.
主役のウルトラマンレオの真夏龍さんはお仕事がいっぱいあるので、彼だけを外してで隊員みんなでいつも団体行動をとってました。
So Manatsu
Ryu.
He's very busy.
Yeah, schedule.
He was incredibly busy, so he ended up being a little bit separate from them, and they kind of formed their little groups socially.
I understand that you kept in touch with Mieko Mita also.
Mieko Mita さんは今でもお付き合いして、今でも私のお姉さんです。彼女は私のお姉さんです。
Yeah, she's still in touch with her to this day, and even now sees her as an older sister figure.
私今ちょっとコロナでだいぶお休みしちゃってましたけど、朗読劇みたいなお仕事をしてまして、それも三田美恵子さんお誘いして一緒にやってたりしてました。今はちょっと別れちゃいましたけど、でもしょっちゅう電話で連絡を取って会ったりお茶したりお食事したり、彼女はもう今でもかなり一緒です。近しいお友達です。
So even now, they're very close friends. They talk on the phone, they go out to do things together, and they were doing some reading work.
Yeah, reading, 朗読劇。
Like a recitation drama, like an audio drama. She was doing some work with Nikamita-san, but not so much right now. But they're still very close.
It's great to hear. So did the production of Ultraman Leo overlap with Terror of Mechagodzilla, Mechagodzilla no Gyakushu?
レオの撮影はメカゴジラの撮影と同じ時に重複してたんですか？違う時？
多分爆発の後ですね、きっとね。メカゴジラはメカゴジラだけの撮影でした。ただオーディション、メカゴジラのマフネカツラのオーディションがありまして、でその時は、ウルトラマンレオを撮影してて、で本当に制服のまんまマネージャーに連れてかれて、で時間がないから、でも着替えなきゃいいからそのまんまで行こうって言われて、でその制服のまんま走って、これ近かったんですね、撮影の場所が。走って東宝の撮影所行ってオーディションを受けたという覚えがあります。
So the actual filming for Ultraman Leo and Terror of Mechagodzilla didn't overlap, but she did audition for Terror of Mechagodzilla while she was still working on Leo, and she vividly remembers going from shooting on set at Leo still wearing her uniform and like sprinting down the hallway because she was so short on time to get to her audition. So it was very hectic.
これは絶対ダメだなと思ってました。
So she thought that was going to ruin her chances, but apparently not.
Well, the going in one jumpsuit versus another jumpsuit in the next movie, it's very sci-fi.
そうですね。はい。でもメカゴジラの逆襲のシルバーのボディースーツみたいのはまあ結構お気に入りでした。あれは好きでした。ウルトラマンレオの方がちょっと辛かったです。はい。
So the outfits for both of those roles, Leo and Terror of Mechagodzilla, they look somewhat similar, but she really likes her silver bodysuit in Terror of Mechagodzilla. She was a big fan of that, whereas the Leo costume she didn't like as much. It was kind of
So as we continue to transition from talking about Leo into Godzilla, I noticed that in her first episode of Ultraman Leo, the same mansion set shows up later in Terror of Mechagodzilla. Was there a lot of overlap between Toho and Tsuburaya in terms of sharing resources like that?
Ah, それはないです。なかった、ないです。で、ないですね。はい。場所も当然違いますし、はい。近いは近いんですけど、歩いて15分ぐらいのところだったんですけど、でも多分ないと思います。
So she doesn't think that there was too much overlap like that between Tsuburaya and Toho. The studios were close together. It was like a 15-minute walk, 15-minute distance away. But for the most part, it was like things were kept separate.
So what was Ishiro Honda like to work with on the movie?
とても優しい先生で、怒られたこともないし、とても優しく指導してくださいました。数ある監督の中で、その後私いろいろお仕事させていただきましたけど、とっても優しいで、言葉数もそんなに多くなく、自分で態度にしてこういうふうに芝居するんだよっていうのを示してくださって、すごく分かりやすく指導してくださいました。
So he was very nice, very good to work with. He's a man of few words, but it was was a very good experience for her, and she enjoyed working with them.
Had you seen other movies that he had done when you were cast?
他の映画を見たことがありますか？キャストされ
当時は正直言ってモスラで私が、子供の頃に友達と初めて親じゃなくて友達と初めて見に行った映画がモスラだったんです。これ偶然なんですけどね。はい。
So it's actually a coincidence, but the first movie she saw, like as a kid with her friends, was Mothra.
So let's talk about some of your co-stars. How about Akihiko Harada? What was it like to work with him?
まず私のお父さんなのになんでこんなシルバーメイクそのおじいちゃんみたいなグランドファーザーみたいなこうメイクをしなくてもいいのになって思いながら見てたのと、あとはやっぱり本当にお世辞ではなくやっぱり優しくて、それこそ撮影終わってからお食事連れてっていただいたりとかしました。
So one thing she remembers thinking is, even though he's supposed to be her father, I guess they didn't make him look like a grandfather-aged person, with like silver hair and makeup and stuff. So she thought that was odd. But he was very nice, and he would take her out to dinner after shooting and that kind of thing.
Did you have any interactions with the screenwriter, Yukiko Takayama?
当時はお話ししたことがなくってご挨拶ぐらいだったんですけど、ここそうですね6年ぐらい前に初めて対談をさせていただきました。で、去年の暮れぐらいに高山さんが監督なさってるんですね、映画の。それを何本か見に行かせていただきました。
So at the time, while the filming was going on for Mechagodzilla, she didn't really speak with the screenwriter, Takayama-san, at all, other than sort of just brief greetings. But 6 years ago, she, for the first time, had a longer conversation, a longer discussion with her, which was nice. And Takayama-san has actually been producing a few movies, and so she had her come and see them, got her tickets to go. もらいましたか？
はい。
高山さんの映画。
チケット買いました。
買いましたか？She didn't give her tickets. She did buy the tickets. So she went to see her movies, but still nice. So.
That's fantastic. So when you got the script, was there any revisions that happened along the way? I understand that there were multiple drafts in the production, but I don't know if those got down to the actors.
スクリプトはいろいろなバージョンがあると聞いていますが、キャストは全部のドラフトを見ましたが、初めて読んだ時の変更が入っていましたが、俳優さん、キャストが、俳優さんはそのドラフトを毎回見ましたか？またはファイナルバージョンだけ見ましたか？よくわかんない。スクリプトはね、台本にいろいろな変更とか変化が入って、その話が彼が聞いています。でも俳優さんはいろいろな変更が入ったことが覚えてますか？
いや、
同じ台本でしたか？
ずっと同じ台本でした。はい。で、キャストも最初から台本に入ってるもう当然同
I guess they must, if there were
ちょっとごめんな
changes.
さい、わからないですね。はい。
So she's not completely sure, but she doesn't really remember the script being changed after she received it. So if there were changes done to the script, it was probably, they figured all that out before they gave it to the actors.
How many days were you filming for?
One month? 1ヶ月ぐらいだったと思います。はい。
So it took about a month.
ごめんなさい。I'm sorry.
No worries whatsoever. It was a long time ago. This was a time when Toho was kind of in financial trouble. Did you get any sense of that as an actor at the time?
当時は東宝はちょっとお金がなくて財政的に厳しい状況だったそうですが、そのことは愛さんや愛さん
いや、全然知らないです。
So that's something that she was not aware of at all.
Was there a premiere for the movie that you were able to go to?
映画のいやイベントとか映画やった時にイベントとかありましたか？
ありました。やっぱり舞台挨拶とかキャンペーンになんか結構あちこち行きました。もう一人出てらっしゃる阿川靖子さんと二人であちこち行きました。
So there was a campaign when the movie was released to drum up publicity, so she went all over Japan, I guess, with that.
で当時は、映画会社のキャンペーンで各映画会社の若手女優、新人女優のこう挨拶っていうか、マスコミに対する挨拶みたいなそういういろいろイベントがありまして、で皆さん素敵なタイトルの何々ですよろしくお願いします順番で私だけメカゴジラの逆襲の愛ともですっていうのがちょっとというかかなりなんか恥ずかしくてメカゴジラっていうのがメカゴジラの愛ともですっていうのがちょっとなんか恥ずかしかった思い出があります。
So there were a lot of kind of big publicity events for new actresses to go around that were done by the various film companies. And they would go around in a group and introduce themselves. And she would always have to say, I'm Tomoko Ai from Terror of Mechagodzilla. And I guess she was always a little embarrassed. And, it's maybe a different type of film than some of these other actresses were.
I'm going to go a little off script, but you play an android type of character, but you are very, it's a love story with a robot that's very conflicted. How is that as an actress to pull off?
ロバートですけど、ストーリーのロマンス、それはどうでしたか？難しかったですか？
難しかったです。本田監督から、ともかく私いつもスマイルニコニコしてるんですけど今回は笑っちゃダメだよ絶対笑っちゃダメだよで本当に感情を入れない芝居をしなさいでもラブストーリーなのに感情を入れないってどうすればいいんだろうと思ってその辺はちょっとあれでしたけど、その辺は細かいその現場での監督のご指導でただ言われる通りにやってたっていう感じです。
So normally, she was always smiling, but for this role, she was told you absolutely must not smile. You need to show no emotion at all. And of course, she was like, well, it's supposed to be a love story. I never show any emotion at all. But she followed the directions she was given, gave it her best shot. So.
And did you get a sense of a big transition from television to theatrical film?
全然それははい。ただなんかその、やっぱり映画とテレビとあれが違うじゃないですか、規模が。でテレビだとこう映画の方が大きいお芝居をしてテレビの方がどっちかしたらこう普通のナチュラルなお芝居をするみたいな感じ、そこだけ気をつけました。あとはまあそんな特別、考えてないですね。で持って生まれた性格がポジティブなんで、あんまりその深くその辺のこうなんていうか悩んだりとかそういうのはなかったですね。
So she didn't find it too difficult of a transition or too stressful or anxiety-inducing or anything like that. The main difference is just that movies operate on a much larger scale, larger sets, that kind of thing, and television is just a little bit more smaller, more straightforward. So that was pretty much the only difference.
で今映画とか自分のメカゴジラの学習の映画とか見ると芝居がすっごくオーバーで大げさなんですけど、それがなんかちょっと今見るとすっごい恥ずかしいなって思ってたのがある方にこういう怪獣ゴジラの映画とか人間とか怪獣みたいなあれがあると怪獣に負けないぐらいのオーバーな芝居をした方がいいんですよって言われて、そうなんだ、じゃあよかったと思って。
So one big difference is just like the sense of drama. She feels like Terror of Mechagodzilla is very over the top. It's very extra. It's very dramatic. So looking back on it, she was a little bit embarrassed, but it seems like that's kind of what they were going for, and that's what they wanted. So it's good that that's what they wanted, because that's what they got.
It's a beautiful movie. Any other specific anecdotes or memories that you recall from the production of the film? Yes.
撮影中は別に特にないし、他の役者さんとほとんどお話もしてないし、相手役の佐々木克彦さんとも全然お話ししてなかった。ただ平田さん、私のお父様とはずっと一緒にいたからすごく気を使ってくださってあれですけど、他の役者さんとはほとんどの接触あれがなかったんですね、コミュニケーションが。佐々木さんも全然なんか喋ってくれないし、こんなもんなのかなと思いながら仕事はしてました。ただ撮影とは全然関係ないんですけど、ウルトラマンレオの時はなんか団体みたいな感じで、スタッフからこう怒鳴られたり怒られたりしながらやってたのが、東宝に行った途端に広いお部屋を与えていただいて、なんかすごくなんか女優さんって、これが女優さんなんだっていう、なんかすごくっていうね、なんていうのかな、こんなんでいいのかなみたいな思いはありました。
So first of all, during the filming for Terror of Mechagodzilla, she really didn't interact with much of the other cast members at all. Sasaki-san basically never spoke to her when it wasn't necessary, so it was a little bit strange maybe. But her father character, played by Hirata-san, he always kind of looked out for her and was nice to her, so that was great. But just kind of going back to the difference between Ultraman Leo and Terror of Mechagodzilla, back during the time of Ultraman Leo, they had social groups among the staff and or among the cast, and they would, all kind of be together and get scolded by the staff, various other things. But then going to Toho, it was this really big studio, and she was really impressed, and that's kind of the first time she felt like she was a real actress.
You were with Toho for a while, and then you transitioned over to working with Toei. What was the comparison like between those two?
東方を出てから少し遠い考えと思いますが、その2つの会社を比べてどう思いましたか？
もともと東宝でデビューして雰囲気がすごく東宝っていうのは素晴らしいんですね。で割とこうお嬢様みたいな感じでやらせてくださって、ただ次の作品を、決まってた作品があったんですけど、それが結局流れてしまって、でうちの事務所が怒って、で東映からオファーが来てたので東映の方に持ってっちゃったんですね。で東映のもう映画やりましたけど、もう全然雰囲気が違いますね。東映は怖い。東宝でお嬢様だったのがいきなり東映行って、ちょっと雰囲気があまりにも違うんで、それは話では聞いてましたけど、いや本当こんな違うんだと思って、ちょっと怖かったです。
So it was a pretty dramatic difference. At Toho, she felt like she was kind of treated like a princess almost. But then there was some other film or something that she was supposed to be in, but she ended up being cut, and her agency was upset. So they decided to move her. They had gotten an offer from Toei, so that's why she ended up moving to Toei. But the atmosphere there was completely different. And it was actually a little bit scary. She's definitely not the princess anymore. There.
It seems like they have a different focus at Toei, a lot more action as opposed to...
Yes. アクション多いですもんね。で、あと東映のカラーとしてヤクザ映画みたいなね、ヤクザ。ヤクザ、ジャパニーズヤクザみたいな映画が多かったんで、なんかやっぱりね、雰囲気が怖いんですよね、全然。
So Toei does a lot of, or at the time did a lot of like Yakuza movies, Yakuza stuff, action stuff, so it's a very different vibe.
Did you interact with the producer, Toru Hirayama at Toei?
So
she may have, said hello to him, but they really never had a conversation.
Yes.
Okay, a couple more fun tokusatsu related things. I saw you are in one of the episodes of the first Super Sentai, Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger. You play a Monster of the Week villain character. Did you have any memories from that?
So ゴレンジャーのレギュラーに伊藤幸雄というのがいて、それがウルトラマンの時の仲間だったんですね。だから楽しく撮影させていただきました。ただすごく遠いところのロケだったのを私生まれて初めて遅刻したんです。寝坊して。作品は寝坊するって遅刻するのがこんなに精神的にうわーっていう感じで、もうどうしようみたいな、もう二度と遅刻しないで、絶対私なんかの時は早く行くって、それでもうそれからはもう当然遅刻したこともないし、お友達とも約束も早く行くし、あれではすごいいい刺激になりました。だからすごくあれは印象的な作品です。全然中身とは関係ないんですけど。
Right, I guess her strongest memory of that is it was really far away and she was late and she was just so distressed at being late, just kind of like hit her right in the emotional core. She was trying so hard to get there in time. So that's kind of the most memorable.
That's very stressful. I also saw, it looks like you had a screen test or something as a lead in the Kage Star. You are in the Bell Star costume in some photos.
影スターというテレビ番組が入ってなんか愛さんは最初はベルスターというキャラクターのその予定がありましたが結局変わりましたね。
はい。ポスターまで撮ってね。
そうですね、写真が
はい。
どの時点でどう覚えてますか？
もうね、本当にね、あれの話なんですけど、今だからね、当時はもうあれですけど、本当に今だから話せますけど、当時結婚しまして、はい、で結婚してでその時東映のレギュラーが1本入ってたんですね。東映の方でベルサイユのトラック姉ちゃんっていうレギュラーが入ってまして、でもう1本その影スターが入ってくるわけですよ。でそれなんか私あんまりはっきり事務所から聞いてなくって、でただなんかポスターになるからって言われて、あはいって言って、なんか着替えたらそういうそういう感じのねものなんですよね。アクションが入って、まあ割と子供向けので、これ2本やっちゃったらまるで家にいられないし、これはちょっとまずいぞと。相手のその最初結婚したその当時の旦那さんも役者さんだったので、なんかこれはちょっとまずいなと思って事務所に行って、その影スターっていうのは私詳しく話聞いてなかったので、これを下ろさせてくださいということでおりました。わがままですよね、一種ね。だからポスター通りまではしてたんです。それでその後私のポスターが使われてたんですよね。らしいですね。
それまでわからないですね。インターネットで見ました。
はい。すいません。Sorry.
So yeah, this is for like a very hyper-specific television show that Kevin over here knows about called the Kage Star. She was on track to be the character called Bell Star, and she did like photo shoots for it. There was like a poster they made of her in the costume and everything that you can find on the internet. But she had just gotten married at that time, and her husband at that time was also an actor, and she felt like she was just being pulled in too many directions at once. She wasn't going to be at home at all, and eventually she was just like, this is just not going to work for me kind of at this stage in my life. So she felt like maybe it was selfish, but she did what was best for her at the time.
So I understand you basically retired from acting around 1990. What have you been up to since then?
はい、言ってもわからないかもしれないですけど、割とこうエステではないんですけど、美容と健康に興味前からあったんです。で、そういうような関連のお店をやってました。はい、美容、はい、美容と健康みたいなサウナ、遠赤外線サウナとか、あとはそのエステとか、あとそのゲルマニウムオイルとか、なんか割とこう女性がこう美容と健康にいいというような、そういうようなサロンをやってました。15年やってました。
15年。
はい。はい、すごいですね。
So for about 15 years, she was running her own business, and it was related to beauty and health products aimed at women, like saunas and that kind of thing. So she had an interest in that.
Okay, well, thank you so much. This has been a great honor. Do you have any closing remarks to the audience? Anything that I left out that you'd like to talk about?
まあ、今言ったようにしばらくこういうお仕事をお休みしてて、別にサロンとかやってて、でもう私もすごく年なんで、最後に好きなことをやって死にたいなって思ったもんですから、でまたカムバックして、で朗読劇みたいなのを始めて、で今すごく幸せです。それプラスこのゴジラのこんな素晴らしいイベントに呼んでいただけるって本当に幸せだなと思ってます。で本当皆さんに感謝してるし、スタッフの皆さんにも感謝してるし、で日本ではこんなに大きい規模ではないんですけど、やっぱりゴジラのイベントがあるんですね。でそういうのにやっぱり呼んでいただいたりとか、他の役者さんよりも途中すごく何十年も休んでる分、作品数も当然少ないし、年バリューもないのにもかかわらず、こうやって日本からアメリカまで呼んでいただけるようなポジションにいられることが本当に私は幸せだなと思ってます。本当に皆さんに感謝しています。
Right, so she was saying, you know, kind of like she stopped acting after she stopped acting, and then she had her business for a while, and at this point she really feels like she just wants to kind of do whatever makes her happy until the end of her life. She's feeling her age a little bit, but she's just so incredibly honored and so incredibly thankful to be able to come to events like these, and this really makes her happy doing things like this, and then like the audio recordings that she was doing with Miyako-san. She's incredibly happy and honored to be able to be a part of events like this. There are some Godzilla-related events in Japan as well, but not necessarily on this scale. But for someone like her who wasn't in that many films, she feels like it's so nice, and everyone is so welcoming, and she's just so grateful.